Hello and welcome back. It's puzzle time with Sudoku Sleuth, and today we're playing Serenade. Now you can see here a thumbnail of Sleuth serenading on a guitar in a lovely courtyard of some sort. A beautiful lady there listening from the balcony, young love. Now I never actually serenaded Mrs. Sleuth quite the same way. My form of courtship, because we actually used to live on opposite sides of London when we first got together. It's more than 10 years ago now, so fond memories for sure. And my way of, I guess, serenading Mrs. Sleuth was essentially going from one end of the city every morning to meet her outside her house and at the start of the day, like 6:30 when she gets going, go with her and her commute to work and then head off to mine at the end of it. So, young love. Well, let's take a look at what today's puzzle is all about, rather than these fun memories. So we've got Serenade by Arc 29, and a following set of rules that are, I think, relatively straightforward. But I'll take you through it because I think the negative constraint is really the way that we're going to have to try and solve this puzzle today. So first rule is normal Sudoku rules apply. So that means place the digits 1 to 9 in every row, in every column, and in every 3x3 box, as you can see them outlined with the thicker black lines without any repeats. We also have normal arrow rules. So that means digits along each arrow. So for example, these two cells sum up to the digit that must be in the arrow circle. So if this was 1 and 2, for example, this would have to be a 3 as it's containing the sum of whatever is on the arrow. We also have normal killer cage rules apply. So digits in cages sum to the digit in the top left corner. No need for Arc to point out that digits do not repeat because all the cages that you can see outlined with this dashed line are fully contained within a box, row, column, etc. So clearly they have to be made up of unique digits and they have to add up to whatever is shown as a number in the top left corner. So if I have a 2, for example, in this cage, to make sure that it adds up to 8 in these two cells, this would have to be a 6. What else do I know? We've covered killer cages. So the last rule we have is the XV rule. So digits with a V between them sum to 5. And digits with an X between them sum to 10. Now here's the key statement. All X's and V's are given. So just to sort of clarify these, although we only have V's in this puzzle, if that was a 2, the cell that is connected with the V has to make sure that it adds up to 5, so that would have to be a 3. Now, if there was an X, which there isn't, if there was an imaginary X between these two cells, this 2 would force an 8 in here to make sure it adds up to 10. Now, I think looking at how sparse the information is, the fact that we have that statement, all X's and V's are given, it's all about negative constraints today. Yeah, I'll be honest with you, I'm kind of a little bit worried about this one, but that's what the weekends are for, to give it a go for some of the tougher puzzles that are out there. If you're not intimidated and you want to have a look at, well, let's say take a walk through memory lane where perhaps you were serenaded or serenading someone, link will be in the description down below to play along as usual. And with that said, I'm going to restart the clock and see how I get on. So, like I said, I think there is very little information that is evident from this. I can place a digit. So if you take a look in box 9, something to remember about arrow sums is it's always very tough to put 9 on them. Because if I put 9 in here, what it's saying is whatever this cell is, plus the 9 adds up to whatever this value is, which would at least be a 10 if I put a 1 in here. So clearly, that is not allowed given its normal Sudoku rules, and we are only limited to the digits 1 to 9. So the only place the 9 can go in box 9 is in here. We have a digit in under a minute. We can celebrate that. The other things that I can spot, particularly in box 7, is this is 8, 9, and obviously the other 8, 9 in this 17 cage. There's no way to get to 17 in two cells without 8 and 9. They're the only possibility. That forces a 6-7 in here in the 13 cage because 9-4 is now ruled out. 8-5 is ruled out because we already pencil marked the 8 and 9. This can only be 6 and 7. I'm kind of wondering if this is now fixed because 1-7 is not available, 2-6 is not available. They're all pencil marked in here. 3-5 is only the only remaining option. Then we have 1, 2, and 4 to complete the package. Right, this is when the hard work starts, I imagine. So just before the hard work, we've got 8s and 9s. I've already placed a 9. There's an 8 in one of these two cells, which to make sure that these arrow sums add up to 9 means that there is a 1 in one of these two cells. We will need to figure out at some point which is which. 1, 2, 4, staring at this V cell, that's a 3, that's a 2, that's a 1, 4. And I think it's time to talk about negatives. Such as, where does 1 and 4 go in these triplet? You see, if I put the 2 down here, I'm just going to show you, then I've got 1 and 4 next to one another, and then that requires a V because they add up to 5. And I don't have a V, so that's not possible. So I actually have to separate the 1 and 4 with the 2, and they end up as such. I mean, you can see there are like sort of negative constraints that almost apply but don't quite apply. You know, if that's a 4, that can't be a 6, it would have to be a 7. If that's a 7, that can't be a 3, it would have to be the 5. So it's almost like a lot of this is fixed once you can place just one digit. It's just, you know, we can't place any digits. So we're kind of going to have to figure out how are we going to make progress on our own to some degree. Sorry, I should think out loud for a moment. So, I mean, we've got 1, 2, 3, and 4. You know, 8, for example, can't be in here, but it could be in any of these. 7 can't be there, but it could be. In fact, 7 is actually quite restricted. 7 is in only one of these two cells. Can't be next to the 3. Can't be in here because of the 6, 7. So one of these is 7. These two now are not 1, 2, 3, or 4, or 6 or 7. It is, in fact, 5, 8, 9 with a definite 5 in here, and whatever the missing 8, 9 is. Which actually gives us a 1, 3, 4 triple. Which, yeah, makes sense. We've got 1, 4, and 3, 3, and 1, 4. So, yeah, we do end up with a triple in here. And again, we've got the same sort of restriction. If this is 6, it can't be 4. If it's 7, it's not 3. No real play here between these two cells. But again, oh, hang on. We've got the same trick here. The 1s and 4 can't be next to one another. So that's a 3 to separate the 1s and 4. The 1 can't be next to the 9. The 4 can't be next to the 6. And then 6 would be in one of these 3 cells, which I'm not keen to pencil mark just yet. Although I may end up having to, given just how little information there is to go on this. So this is, so 2 is in here, not next to the 3. One of these is a 2. So that places 1, 2, 3, and 4. 7 is in neither of these. It's just not enough. I mean, that's still 4 places for 7. I'm probably going to move on from sort of this left-hand section of the puzzle. And I mean, I moved on here because, you know, I was looking down there and thinking, oh, there doesn't seem to be a lot of things for me to do there. I mean, trying to pencil mark this, given the kind of complexity between this, yeah, makes you shudder. So let's think about, I mean, this so tempting to say it's a 9, just given the length of this arrow. and the number of arrows that are coming from it, I kind of need to really sort of work through the possibility. So let's just think, what could this cell be? So it could be 1, can't be 2, also can't be 3 because that would turn it into a 5 and no V between them. Could be a 4, and then obviously I can just carry on. I mean, the minimum this is a 3, and then another one would be 4. So actually the maximum in here is 5. Because 1, 3, 4 plus 5 gets me to 9. So it's actually quite restricted. Here is something else. So the question I want to ask myself is, could none of these be 1? And the answer to that question is no. Because if none of these are 1, then it'll be 4 plus 2. We're already at 10, plus whatever this cell is. And I can't stuff an 11 into this circle. So one of these has to be 1, and therefore this can't be 9. This would have to be an 8, this would have to be a 9 to make this work. Otherwise, I would have a 10, basically. And then the second question I want to ask myself is, are both of these 1s, or can I get away with a 1, 4 instead? And I suspect I can, because 1, 2, and 4 would get me to 7. And then that can't be a 1, because that would then add up to an 8, and I can't put a second 8 in the column. So then this would have to be a 2 if this is 1, 2, and 4. Now the other possibility is these are, double 1 with a 2. I guess no, actually, excuse me. I could have done 5, 2, and 1, which would actually get me to 8, and I could put a 1 in here to make this a 9. So like 9 is looking extremely likely at this point, but let's just work through the possibilities. And then the last option that we have is 1, 1, and 2. We're already at 4. And I can't make this circle a 5. And the reason I can't make this circle a 5 is back to that negative constraint. Because if there is a 5 as a total, nothing's wrong with 5, by the way, because I can probably do, no, I can't. I can't put 1s and 4s in here to match that 1, 4. But essentially, because these two cells are next to one another, if I had a 5 in here, I'd put 2 and 3, and then I don't have a V between them. And obviously that immediately breaks the negative constraint. So I can't do 5. I'm assuming I can have 6, though. If I do 1, 2, and 1, that's already at 4. I could have a 2 in here. I could do a 6 in there, presumably. Then I need, because that's a 2, that doesn't work. If I use a 2 in here, I've removed one of the options for 6, because it's 2, 4, 1, 5. And the fact that I've placed a 2 in here means 6 is not available. 7, I assume, could be. I can do 4 in here, 3 in there, to get to 7. And then, yeah, I could do 1 and 6. The 3 won't work with the 4. And then with this being a 7, I have, probably many options here. With the 3 gone, 3, 4 is not available. I would have to use 1, 6, and 2, 5, which seemingly are available. And the 1, 6 would have to be down here. Because remember, this can't be a 4 because I can't place a 3 to get to 7. So that would be 1, 6. And then I can't have 1, 6 in here. I would have to have a 6 and 1. And then because the 3 is gone, I would have to have 2 and 5. And this is with, yeah, it could go in any order basically here. So that's a possibility, unfortunately. 1, 6. I see nothing wrong with that. So, no, Sleuth. You're not paying attention. I can't put a 2 in here. Yes, I can't put a 2 in here. Why did I care about the 2? What allowed me to have a 2 in here? Because the 2, you see, would be connected with the 8, would make a 10, and there's no x between them. So no 2. And no 3. The 7 is not an option, because it would have been 1, 2, and 1. That's a 4. It required a 3. The 3 would be next to a 7, and there's no x. So this is a 9. And if memory serves, I couldn't use a 3 because essentially the only way I could do 9 in here, I can't do 1, mind you, because 1 and 9 doesn't work. 2 and 8 doesn't work. So actually the minimum I can put in here is at least a 3. And the fact that this is at least a 3 tells me that this cannot exceed 6. And 1, 2, 4 is a 7. So these have to be a double 1. This has got to be quite the most complicated resolution of this. There must have been like some easier things that for me to do first. And because this is at 4, I need to get to 9. That's got to be a 5. Goodness me. 1 and 4, let's remove that 6. So if this is a 1, this would be an 8. If this is a 4, this would be a 5. So far, this is all achievable. 9, I can't have 4, 5, but I can have 3, 6, and 3, 6. I mean, this one in particular, I can't have 1, 8, I can't have 4, 5. So this one is actually reasonably restricted. It can be 3, 6, and it can be 2, 7. Yeah, I'm in the interest of time, if nothing else. We're at 13 minutes into this solve. I'm going to move on. That's 1 gives me no 1 in here, therefore no 8 in here. That's an 8, that's a 1. So I think box 9 is probably where I want to go next. And because we've already placed 1 and 8, the next thing we need to think about, so we've got 2, 7, we've got 4, 5. So let's have a think about 4, 5 for a second, because we've got this 4, eliminating 4, 5 as an option here. And I guess I can't put a 4 in here because that would require a 5 up there, which is not available. So in fact, 4s are in none of these. Is the answer. 4 has to be on this arrow, which turns it into a 4, 5. And then we're almost at a point where we can actually sort of pencil mark whatever these are. Goodness me. So essentially, this is either 3, 6 or 7, 2. This will again be 3, 6 or 7, 2. And it essentially would sort of, let me sort of illustrate what I'm thinking. If this is 7, that would be 2. And because this has to add up to 9, the 3, 6 would be down here. 6, not 5. And then essentially, you would have to put the 2 and then the 7 up here. I'm guessing there'll be some sort of negative constraint around it, around these cells, that would sort of help you differentiate it. But that's kind of how it would have to end up. These two would also have to add up to 9, given everything else is in terms of pairs. Now, the challenge is, I don't know if it's 3, 6 or 7, 2. We're probably going to have to work through that systematically, which I'm not looking forward to, I'm going to say. I mean, 2 is not here. 3 is not there. So that's something. So I guess I can do 2, 7, and 3, 6. So far, nothing breaks. I can also do the reverse of that, presumably. I mean, I can't put... Why couldn't I put the 3 here? What was wrong with that? There was nothing wrong with that, was there? It's only the 2, 7 that's restricted. The 3, 6... I can do whatever I want, I think. Don't know what I was thinking there. So this is the only one that's really restricted. Right, come on. We've got to think about this in a different way. So essentially, I have a virtual 6-7 pair between these. So either this is a 7-2 pair and this is 6, or this is a 6-3 pair and this is 7. So there are no more 6 or 7s to be placed anywhere. Now, if this is 2-7 and that's 6, that has really no bearing whatsoever on this 3-5 or this 4-5. So this could be 3-4 or 5. Not helpful. Now the other option is that this is 6-3. Sorry, 6-3. That would be 6. That would be 5. That would be 4. And then that would be 2. So there's a ton of options still. It's basically everything except 6-7. I feel like I'm missing something else. Right, so here's something. Let's think about this instead. We know that the 4 is on none of these, because it would need to partner up with a 5, and one of these has to be a 4. And they all happen to see this cell. So if we think about 6-3 in this context, I can't put the 6 here next to the 4. In fact, I'll tell you what else is not available. No, hang on. No, 1-8 is. I can put 1 and 8 in there. But actually, I can't put 1 either in here. Because again, if I put a 1 of these is a 4, I would have essentially a V with it. So this is not 1 or 6. Let's think about the actual options that it can be. I assume nothing wrong with me doing 8 and 1, and then the 4 would have to be up here. Presumably that's fine. I think it is anyway. Actually, I'm sort of tempted to play that out. If that's 8-1, that would be 4. That would take us down to 1. That would be 8. And then it breaks. So 8-1 doesn't even work in here. 1, 8 breaks this. So short answer is 1-8 is not here either. And in fact, it couldn't have been here because the 1 is next to the 9. I mean, like, that was the easier way to spot it. So 1 can't be here, 1 can't be there. 1-8 doesn't belong in on these two. 1-8 doesn't belong in here because of Sudoku. So this is 1, 4, and 8 triplet. And these are from 2, 7, and 3, 6. That's not a 1 because of this 9. There's a 1 in here with a 1 in there. There is a 1 in one of these two cells. Really clutching at straws at this point. Now, 6 can't be here. Because again, one of these is a 4, and then that would form an X, and that breaks. Can I rule out an X from here is a question. Because then that would force the 6-3 up here, and this would be a 2-7, and can make some progress finally in this puzzle. So if this is 6, that would be 3. So far, I'm not seeing any problems. And then that would be the 4. That would be the 1 and 8. No issues so far. And then 7 and 2. Possible. Okay. Hang on, let me just think this through for a second. If this was 6, that breaks because of the 4. If this was 6, I need to probably just see the implications. That goes back to being a 4, that goes back to being a 1, that goes to an 8, and it breaks because this can't be an 8 and it can't be a 4. And it's not a 1, because that will be next to the 9. So 6, 3 is up here. This is very hard-earned pencil marks, gotta say. And this is 2, 7. And then the 6, if it's here, places a 4 in there. That would be 8. That would be 1. That would be 4. That would be 5. Again, there's just like, I'm going to say it's intense in the sense that you place one digit, it just has an avalanche of implications, but you have so little information to place any digits. Although, that being a 2, 7 tells me this is not 2, 7. Remember, if I had 7 and 2 here, that would force a 7 there and a 2 there, and then I've broken this cell. So this is 6, 3. Sorry. This is 6, 3. This is 2, 7. This is now 1, 2. I need in here a 3, 5, and 6, I'm going to say. 3, 5, 6. That can't be a 6 next to the 4. That can't be clearly 3 or 5. I've already placed them down here. And this has to be 7 and... Oh, whichever one of the 2 or 4 it is, which it isn't a 2. That's a 2. This is 4, 7. 4 can't be next to the 1. That's a 7. That's a 1. Sorry, that's a 4. That 7 gives me the 2 and the 7. Now, neither of these can be an 8, which gives me an 8 up here, a 4 in there, a 1 in there. That can't be a 6 anymore next to the 4. That's a 3. That's a 6. We're getting there. 1 gives me a 4, the 1, the 8. Wow. This is hard work. That can't be a 6 next to the 4. That's a 5. That's a 6. Have I got any kind of pressure this way? Yes, 3, 6 gives me a 5, a 4, a 5. The 4 can't be next to the 6. So that is, as I said, kind of this deadly pattern otherwise is resolved with negative constraints around it. That's a 6. That's a 3. That 2 removes this 2. That is the 2. Come on, we're nearly there. He says, hopefully, realizing, well, that's a 3 now. That can't be a 7, so that's the 6. That's the 7. No pressure on the 8s and 9s, really. That 1 does remove pressure, does exert pressure on the 9 up here. So that's 5 or 8. We probably have enough information at this point to just really use predominantly Sudoku to solve. He says, hopefully. For example, 5s, that's a 5. 5 is quite an awkward digit on this puzzle because really it doesn't exert any kind of pressure in X's and V's. Since 0 is not available, and 5 and 5 to create an X would have actually broken the puzzle anyway. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I need a 6. That 6 is not there. I have 7 and 9. 9 can't be next to the 1, so that's the 9. That's the 7. Therefore, that's not the 7. That's the 7. Can be next to 1 or 4. No problems. Yeah. Now, we have 5, 8, and 9. Actually, that's not an 8. The 8 has to be in there. So that's not a 9. That's a 5, 8 pair. That's a 9. That's an 8. And to finish this up, we need 6 and 9 with no real constraints here as far as I could tell. The 2 can't be next to the 8. So that's the 5. That's the 8. And then again, no pressure on the 1 and 4. No pressure on the 6 or 9. Right, let's move on. What do we have in here now? Oh, we could just brighten this digit. It is an 8. Then we're left with 1, that's not a 1, a 2, and a 5. That's not a 5, so that's the 5. Then 2 can't be next to the 3, so that is the 5. That's a 1, 2 pair. 2 can't be next to the 8. That's 1. That's 2. That gives me the 7 and 2. Should be able to finish this from here. 4, 7, 9. 9 can't be here, nor can the 4, in fact. We've got 4 and the 9 can't be next to a 1, so that's just 7. 4 and 9, no real, well, I mean 4, sorry, 9 clearly can't be on an arrow with next to a 2 to add up to 11, so let's not forget other constraints. That's a 6, that gives me the 9, that gives me the 6. Right, let's just finish this now. I need a 2 that goes in one of these two. No constraints. I need a 4, which can't be next to the 6. It's going to be up. It can't be next to this either 6, really. So that's just written in. That's a 4, which gives me a 1 and a 4 in here. I need a 7 in one of these two. No constraints. I should just be able to do the 6. Yeah, that's the last 6 in the puzzle. A 1 is in one of these. What else do I have in this column? I need a 5 and an 8. 5 is distributed as such. 8 seemingly can go anywhere. Well, not in down here. These two maybe, hopefully. I need a 3 and a 9, I think. That 9 gives me the order. That's the 9, that's the 3. Again, no. Well, 9 gives me the pressure on the 1. So that's the 8. Therefore, that's the 5, that's the 1. That can't be a 2 next to the 8, so that's the 7, that's the 2. Very much at the home run now. So 4 and 5, that's the 5, that's the 4. I need a 1 somewhere in this puzzle. It's here. I need a 2. It's got to be in there. That's the last digit in this row. That's the 3. I need 7, 8, and 9. And if I've not made any mistakes, that's the 7, that's the 8, and that's the 9 for today's solve. Wow. I kind of need to take a look at this difficulty rating. So 28 minutes, I think that was a pretty quick solve for what felt like a pretty hard puzzle to me. I mean, the reason I'm sort of saying it's quite a hard puzzle, and it might be because I'm missing simpler routes, is just how involved it is to try and figure out things like the 148 triple in here, the implication it has on the 36, you know, with the constraint on the 134 and the 18, and then getting to a 2-7 in here, or specifically a 2 and a 7, 2-7, yep, to get it a 3-6. So that part felt very difficult. You know, a lot of multiple steps sort of looking ahead to see where the puzzle breaks. So that's the part I think that's just felt a bit challenging. I didn't notice this kind of top row 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Quite neat. It's almost as if it's repeating. It's not quite 1, 2, 3, but 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Almost deliberate. 2, 1, 3, 4, 5, 6. Is it roped? 2, 1, 5. Yes, yes. Once you rope one, you have to rope the rest. Yep. Tell me no. So the last set of boxes. I mean, my head clearly was so elsewhere that I didn't notice any of this. Right. I think I've been yapping enough, long enough. Where, wow, 33 minutes into this video. So I hope that you guys solved this puzzle and enjoyed it, and that you enjoyed the video. I think it's not a bad solve from me. I don't feel like I was really stuck anywhere because of things that were just Sudoku blindness. It was just, well, the occasional one, like, you know, I looked at that 1-8 possibility for far, far too long with an embarrassing 1 next to the 9. But aside from that, I hope that you guys enjoyed it and see you back for the next one. Bye-bye for now.